When was the last time you consciously made an effort to support a business for a specific reason other than, say, cost of a product, whether it be a local business or a small business? Well, it is Black History Month, and Black business leaders say their Idaho owners, they need support just like any other. Data from Pew Research Center shows Black people own 3% of American businesses. This was 2020 data. It's a pretty small number considering, well, they're a group that makes up 12% of the country. And we don't even know what it looks like in Idaho since the Gem State is among a handful that didn't contribute any data to this study. But we do know Black-owned Idaho businesses are a tight-knit community. Historically, they're only made possible by support, right? And they only exist today because of that same continued support. Here's Andrew Bartline.
It can be tough to keep the lights on at any business.
Yeah, it is. It can be. It can be.
Trish Walker pins it down to one word.
We all need support, 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 support.
A lesson learned from a life lived.
I'm a fifth-generation Idahoan. I lived in a redlining district, but I didn't know that I was considered a poor individual or I lived on the wrong side of the tracks or anything because I had so much support. I had my great-grandparents and I had my grandparents, and there was nobody in our community that ever went hungry. We never went without.
The support given to Trish, she now gives to others.
I do. I love it. I love every day.
That's because every day,
I am the CEO and founder.
Trish goes to work with a purpose to support Black-owned Idaho businesses.
Why did you decide this is an organization that needs founding in the first place?
I wanted to do more for my community and more for the Black community in Idaho, and business just made sense.
And it made even more sense when Trish learned about the demand. Expecting 30 to 40 businesses to sign on, she now supports around 200.
Some of them aren't licensed, some of them need a business plan, some of them need that training.
And one of them,
man, I love Idaho,
is Brandon Timberlake.
I tell you, I feel like sometimes I was almost born in the wrong state.
He's the owner of Timberlake Cuisine. Brandon moved to Idaho from Las Vegas in 2020 to bet on himself and a better life, to be his own boss.
In my culture and my family, the most thing we were smiling and laughing over was food. No matter how bad things were, food was the thing that brought us together. And I've seen that. And that's something that I know I can recreate that for others, for all, you know.
Could this be your full-time job without IBCA?
Honestly, I'm not gonna say yes right now.
You're just doing what you need to do to make sure that your family survives. And so you turn that into a business. And so we're just trying to be that resource to help them to get their business to that next level.
We all need support.
Also to help you to get to to get out of that mindset so you can be the next person to help somebody else up. So I think that's pretty dope in itself.
Support works.
Yeah, and all kinds of support.
Support. It can be handed down too. That's the tradition behind Trish's family.
It's been so valuable for our community. So.
And the backbone of her very own Black-owned business.
That same support, that same connection. I love it. I love everything about it.
Trish's business is called the Idaho Black Community Alliance, IBCA. She started that organization in 2021 because, as she said, she saw a need. She doesn't know exactly how many Black-owned businesses are in Idaho, but she says she works with around 200. And that story, Brian, is really cool how it kind of comes full circle in a sense that as a kid growing up in an area that was redlined, she didn't know that because she had a good family, a good structure, and it allowed her to be successful in her life. Well, she wants to pass that on to other people who maybe weren't afforded those same opportunities and that same luck that she had despite an otherwise difficult situation.
Perspective, for sure. Sometimes it's hard to see the forest for the trees, and getting outside of that and realizing, wait a second, there's a whole other set of rules and even allies out here that I had no idea existed.
Yeah, and when we talk with, Brandon specifically, like he has a story and he has needs to where his cuisine company, he wants to have like a building, a brick and mortar area. Well, he needs support to make that happen. People going to his business, supporting his business, things of that nature. And then you think about it, well, that's one of 200 stories, and that's just the ones that we know of.
That's pretty good.
So it's really interesting if you break it down of, I don't know, how many more are out there? How many more stories are we just maybe not privy to?
It starts with one, so I'm going to look for Brandon's food truck out there.
Okay,
all right.
you should.
Thanks, Andrew.